Yo, it's Austin. Valentine's Day's here, and I'm alone.
Top 5 games for single people. Who needs a second half this Valentine's Day when you have video games? Not me, that's for sure. Now there's a lot of things to pick from here, but don't worry, because I went through every game in existence to narrow it down just for you.
With that out of the way, let's get started.
So let's create a little spectrum of video games. We'll call it the investment-ometer. On one side, you have something casual and not too terribly time-consuming, such as Tetris. And way on the other side is something like, I don't know, fucking Dwarf Fortress. Dragon's Dogma fits in about here. Maybe a little more right. Yeah. Motherfucking Dragon's Dogma, alright! This shit is just good, man! It's like someone took Monster Hunter and slapped it in the face with an Elder Scrolls game in Shadow of the Colossus. I've lost so many hours to this beast, and hopefully that doesn't stop anytime soon. The setup of this shit is pretty simple. You play the Arisen, who is essentially the Chosen One. Yeah, Chosen One stories might be a little overdone, but never have I seen a fucking dragon eat your heart! That's the most badass death I've ever seen! But you're not even dead! You're still alive, which makes it even more badass! Rather than becoming a Heartless, you gain the ability to use pawns, who are the most chatty motherfuckers on the planet.
I've learned new techniques against that foe. I'll take that.
Now, I had to make myself a cutie, so instead I made my pawn me. Sarah Eruption reporting for duty. He's quite bitchy and arrogant and available for you to use if you'd like. It's kinda like dating me. Kinda. The pawn system is super rad, and the game allows you to have up to 3 of them in your party. When you're online, all of those that you encounter are made by other players. Each of these pawns has a class set by their creator and can add a new dynamic to your lineup. It's like playing fantasy football, except without the whole football part. Like playing fantasy. Role-playing. But what makes Dogma so special is the exploration tied together with the action combat. Fast travel exists, but it isn't much of an option here. You're gonna run into the wilderness with your original character and pray to the gods that nightfall doesn't fuck you up too hard. You end up spending so much time outside searching for quest leads and treasures that literal hours pass by without you really noticing. Essentially, Dragon's Dogma is something I can really get behind merely in concept, but then it executes it super well with some of the most engaging combat in an open-world action game out there. Sure, with small dudes, you'll be pulling off combos and working in tandem with your team, but when the big guys come out, you'd better get ready. You're gonna have to climb shit, jump like a madman, and learn to take out weak points. Chop off tails, disable limbs, burn wings, it can all be done here. Each boss encounter is lengthy and feels like a brutal skirmish, and all of that is to the game's benefit. So give Dragon's Dogma a try if you need to fill a void in your life. The PC version. The console one had bad frame rate. In the interest of skipping the bullshit, let me lay this out flat for you. Sonic Adventure 2 is okay. It's certainly not horrible, at least not the Dreamcast original. Ports kind of fucked it up over time, but I've definitely played way worse games. Plus, the Sonic and Shadow stages are pretty good when you're not falling to the ground. But there's one aspect of Sonic Adventure 2 that comes and completely redeems everything. For some people. A little minigame so deep, it's kinda shallow, that gamers around the entire world clamor for a game of this alone. Chale Gardens. Listen, who needs a fucking boyfriend when you've got these cute little monsters to take care of? Certainly not me. Now there's a ton of complex aspects that I'm not really gonna go too deep into. Appearances can be changed based on who is raising them, what animals you give them, what stat boosters you toss their way. They can be good, neutral, evil, they can look like Shadow or whoever the fuck you feel like. These things take time though, so suddenly you're caring for a ton of them simultaneously. Chal can be taken to school to enhance certain aspects, learn skills, and even examine their pros and cons. But what is all of this for exactly? The Chal Stadium, of course! It's like raising a horse for racing. Make that little fucker work during his keep, or make him fight! Horse fighting! There's no grand reward or anything, as this was all just a minigame inside of the much bigger Sonic Adventure 2. But that also happens to be its only weakness. In order to have your Chal grow, you're gonna have to play the main game. That means if you actually want to get the stat boosters and animals, you gotta play it. Thankfully, you're allowed to do it with just Sonic and Shadow, so you don't have to subject yourself to the super good Knuckles stages. Or even worse, play the Tails ones. It's really easy to sink tens, if not hundreds of hours into simply the Chao Garden, and it totally makes sense. Games with any kind of pet simulation are always super alluring and fun to experience. If you have the Dreamcast or GameCube versions, you can even take your Chao with you on the go for more shenanigans.
It's really awesome to see these guys grow. So, like, if you ever want to feel dependent on, I think chows are the way to go. Not people.
Playboy the Mansion's fucking weird. My one sentence review of this game would be Hugh Hefner wanted to feel young again. When you start this shit up, you're given a brief F&B history of Playboy before being taken to this title screen with young Hef surrounded by a bunch of nipply girls. Immediately, you can tell this is gonna be great. Oh hey, it's The Sims, but also Pokemon Snap with titties! So, like The Sims, you've got to work on your relationships with people. You're Hugh Hefner, the man behind Playboy, and you have to live the name up. Hire staff like journalists and photographers to supply articles and interviews. Make sure you have Playboy bunnies to hang out with you at the mansion, and of course, you gotta have playmates for cover shots and centerfolds. So how do you get the interviews? By throwing rad parties, of course, with weird jazzy music, because this is a classy establishment. Once you trick celebrities and writers into your house, chat them up for exclusive interviews, become friends by discussing the stock market or just having a good old-fashioned chinwag. Any girls come to the party? Flirt them up and have sex in front of everyone on the couch. It's all good and also classy. Well, what if you want to have more than sex on the couch? Well, maybe you can ask him to be the centerfold or the cover of your next issue. Yeah, you rock it, girl. This is gonna sell 1 million copies. Damn, that has to be the sexiest issue we've ever made. Now, in order to fully immerse yourself into the world of Playboy the Mansion, you need to rewind your method of thinking back to that of 1856. Everyone will bend to any of your wills as you have money. You are a straight white male after all, therefore the world is yours. Have your Playboy bunnies get everyone nice and drunk so you can throw sweet cash at any and everything. Put out that magazine and reap the rewards. Now, Hef, don't forget that you have responsibilities to fulfill. You can't just party all the time. You have a reputation to uphold. Make sure your staff doesn't hate each other, make sure your girlfriends have adequate allowance for the month, and most importantly, make sure to have that affair to trigger the next quest. And once you feel comfortable with everything, make sure to check out the cheats menu for things such as Big Head Mode. Seeing this right here, I'm more turned on than I've ever been in my entire life. I'm sure you are as well. Isn't this sexy and not at all stupid? But if life ever gets you down, just remember, ask a coworker if they'd like to engage in intercourse for 5 days straight. A+. The world of dating is a complex one. Sometimes compromises have to be made in order to keep yourself and others happy. For most, this totally works, but some are never satisfied. Thankfully, social simulators exist. No longer are you tied to the realm of reality. Get yourself immersed in the world of your choosing. Do you want to be a teenager? How about a teenager? Look at all these normal Japanese high school teenagers you can be. But wait, how about a teenager interested in pigeons? Oh, how about a teenager interested in their sick sister? The choices are near limitless, and they come in all different kinds of packages. There's bigger games with social aspects, such as the Persona franchise, Fire Emblem, and Thousand Arms. These are more of a side thing when put up to the main story, but exist to allow the player to get deeper into the world. We've also got visual novels, probably the most expansive of the bunch. Choose your own adventure in the skin of your choice. Typically, these are only text and dialogue-driven games, but sometimes you'll find more complex and interesting puzzle mechanics. These are games such as Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters, 999, etc. Then you've got straight-up dating simulators and otome games. These weren't very popular outside of Japan until recently, but these include games like Tokimeki Memorial, Amnesia Memories, Inuyasha Secret of the Cursed Mask. While mechanics differ from game to game, typically the goal is to determine which anime face you like the most and try to make them fall in love with you, normal stuff. These types of games have only been growing in popularity. And finally, we've got H-games. They're like dating simulators, but for those who want to have the sex and see glorious censored genitalia. You could play Honey Pop, Exchange, the Rants franchise, Bible Black, Do You Like Horny Bunnies, and I know you've all played Sim Girl. Bunch of perverts. My point being is that, hey, it's okay. We all know 2D boys and girls are superior to 3D ones. If anything, these games can serve as a reminder to the horrors of the real dating world. Lots of these games have bad ends, which is too real. Can't get a date in the virtual world either? Well, that's totally fine. You never know when your boyfriend might summon his guards to arrest you, leaving you in a dungeon for the rest of your life. Or hey, maybe you'll get locked up in a cage and force-fed for who knows how long simply because they know what's good for you. And don't forget that time your ex put you in a room with a fucking lion just because he wanted it to lick your nipples. This is a warning, people! So stay the fuck inside. There's a metric fuck ton of dating simulators out there, and I guarantee that there's one for you. Now, before we move on to number 1, let's take a look at a few honorable mentions for all of us single people. thrill with darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching in a mountain to you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Cry is the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream. Pierce me up. Yo, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you liked it, and also check out some of our other videos. You can also check out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Arcadia Live. We're going to do a bunch of streams there still. Make sure to also check out Emmy Knightley's YouTube page. She helped me out a lot with this script, and she's really freaking cool, so check her out. And, I don't know. What are you guys doing? You want to hang out? We could go to the coffee shop and get some creme brulee. I don't know.